Well, there was high drama in the Tamil Nadu Assembly today as in an unprecedented move, Governor RN Ravi skipped part of the address prepared by the government, which included references to secularism, Ambedkar and Dravidian leaders. A furious Chief Minister MK Stalin moved a resolution asking the Speaker to take on record only the speech prepared by the state government. The governor then stormed out in a huff. And there were very angry slogans that were shouted while the governor was speaking as well, with DMK MLAs asking him to quit Tamil Nadu, saying don't impose the RSS and BJP ideology here.
தமிழ சகோதர சகோதரிகளே அனைவருக்கும் வணக்கம். மன்றத்தில் 23ஆம் ஆண்டிற்கான சட்டமன்ற தேர்வின் முதல் கூட்டத்தில் என் உரையை
Dramatic scenes inside the Tamil Nadu Assembly, with Tamil Nadu Governor RN Ravi walking out after his address, skipping even the national anthem. Moments after a face-off with the ruling DMK, after Chief Minister MK Stalin moved a resolution to not put on record the governor's speech, which was a tweaked version of the government's draft. In a rare departure, Governor RN Ravi skipped reference to secularism, social justice and women empowerment, all part of the government draft in his speech. Also, names of late leaders including Periyar and Ambedkar. Neither did he read the part calling the state a haven of peace, attracting foreign investments.
The Tamil Nadu government is the elected people government of Tamil Nadu. Majority people elected this government. They are giving the speech by book. He has to read it. He should read. So he is giving correction.
The Governor's Act came minutes after allies of the ruling DMK, including the Congress, shouted Tamil Nadu repeatedly, protesting Ravi's recent remarks, suggesting a change of name for the state from Tamil Nadu to Tamilagam.
And the truth is that we are all one. It's a part of Bharat and in fact Tamil Nadu. In fact, Tamil Nadu is the one place, let us say Tamilagam is more appropriate. This land keeps the soul of Bharat, the identity of Bharat, the idea of Bharat.
Rather, he is the spokesperson of RSS. They have started with Tamil Nadu. Very soon they will come with a statement that Uttar Pradesh, Andhra Pradesh, Himachal Pradesh, all these Pradesh, Arunachal Pradesh should be re-Christian. And not only that, Maharashtra, Rashtra, and again Rajasthan, Stan.
There's been no response yet from the governor's house on today's events.
Non-BJP ruled states accuse governors of running parallel administrations, undermining elected governments to appease their political masters. Well, today's face-off has triggered questions on behavior by both sides. The debate over the relevance of governors continues. In Chennai with Suresh, Sam Daniel for NDTV.
Meanwhile, moving on to the other big story today, central teams have reached Uttarakhand to survey villages affected by the shifting soil in Joshimath, which has been declared a disaster-prone area. Around 600 homes have been evacuated so far. As NDTV's Tanushree Pandey now reports from the ground, this was a disaster waiting to happen.
The sacred town of our country, Joshimath, situated at 6,000 feet in Chamoli district of Uttarakhand, is on the verge of sinking. Right behind me, the visual speaks for itself. A temple which has completely collapsed yesterday after it developed massive cracks and fissures, just like all other houses, hotels and roadways across the town. Situated at 6,000 feet in the Chamoli district of Uttarakhand, Joshimath, the gateway to the holy pilgrimage sites of Badrinath and Hemkund Sahib, is clearly sinking. 600 structures at the very least have been damaged or partially destroyed. 32-year-old Lakshmi lost all her belongings after her house collapsed in front of her eyes.
घर हम अपने आंख सामने टूटते हुए देख रहे हैं और हम खुद जानते हैं कि हम इस हालत में अभी क्या हैं। आप देखिए पूरा घर हर तरीके से बिखर रहा है और हम हर जगह ऐसी देख रहे हैं, हर कोई आ रहा है, देख रहा है और चले जा रहे हैं। भले उन्होंने किया है हमारी व्यवस्था पानी, हमें ऐसी हालतों में देखा है तो स्कूल में शिफ्ट तो किया है, पर लेकिन हमारी मांग यही रहेगी कि जल्द से जल्द हमें अपनी छत दें और हम वहां सुरक्षित रह सकें।
But it did not happen overnight. A slew of wrong decisions and government negligence has caused the disaster. NDTV went to Joshimath in 2004 when explosions to carry out road construction and build power projects damaged the integrity of land here. A land which falls in a Zone 5 seismic zone, which means it's an active earthquake-prone zone.
We have seen it happening. We have shot those visuals and we have got the photographs of the boards written that they do blasting from this to this officially. अगर इतना बड़ा प्रोजेक्ट आप ला रहे हो तो क्या आप सस्टेनेबल डेवलपमेंट की बात कर रहे हो? तो जो आप हमें बता रहे हैं कि हाइड्रो पावर प्रोजेक्ट जरूरी है, सड़कें जरूरी हैं, बिल्कुल जरूरी हैं, लेकिन सस्टेनेबिलिटी भी बहुत जरूरी है। बिकॉज आज जोशीमठ में क्या हो रहा है? अगर आप विकास के मॉडल की, क्या आज जोशीमठ के लोगों को फायदा हुआ आपके इस विकास के मॉडल से?
Decades ago, before the first power plant was constructed in Joshimath in 1980s, two Swiss geologists, Arnold Hem and Augusto Ganzier, carried out a survey and published a book in 1930s named Central Himalaya. They said in their book that Joshimath is situated on the debris of a landslide and is dangerous for any kind of construction work. But their warnings were blatantly ignored. Construction of a second power plant, NTPC's Tapovan Vishnugad hydropower project, started in 2006. NTPC has denied its latest construction activity. 2 tunnels have anything to do with the land subsidence in Joshimath. Construction activity is not limited to Joshimath and the damage caused is evident across the region. In Rishikesh, 250 kilometers away, a tunnel being constructed by the railways also has massive cracks. Its structural integrity in doubt. Joshimath is a Zone 5 seismic zone, which means it's highly prone to earthquakes and it's a very sensitive area owing to its proximity with our border. Plus, it also connects two very important religious places, the Hemkund Sahib and the Badrinath. Now, the question is, after knowing all this, why did the government decide to bring in the NTPC plant and huge equipments and machineries in this fragile and sensitive region, which according to the residents of the area are the main reason for the damage on the ground? Was the government waiting for a tragedy to happen? And as we show you shocking and horrific visuals from ground zero of an entire town gradually sinking, we leave you with a question and a thought. Is development more important than people's lives? With camera person Rakesh Singh in Joshimath in Uttarakhand, I'm Tanushree Pandey reporting for NDTV.
Meanwhile, there is a severe cold wave in northwest India. In fact, a cold wave warning is in place for 5 states. And there was dense fog as well today that affected flights in many parts of the north. Trains were running late as well. It's also so cold now in Delhi, for example, that private schools are going to remain shut till the 15th of January.
May I have your attention, please? 63-year-old Patna resident Ram Vinayak Pal is helpless.
With his family of 4, he spent one of Delhi's chilliest nights this season on the freezing platform floors of the capital's largest railway station.
लोग का ट्रेन छूट गई
फॉग की वजह से आप लेट हो गए थे, आप बताएं।
हाँ, कोहरा की वजह से।
कोहरे की वजह से। तो अब अगली ट्रेन कितने बजे की आपकी है?
कल है 6:30 बजे।
तो कल तक आप लोग इसी यहाँ पर ठंड में ही बाहर जैसे भी कंबल में जैसे भी आपको गुजारना पड़ेगी रात यहीं पर?
दूसरा कोई उपाय नहीं है ना।
Just like Ram Vinayak, hassled rail passengers running from pillar to post to inquire about the status of their trains. Some of them have spent close to 10 hours waiting on platforms in the biting cold. This as a thick layer of fog engulfed the national capital this morning, throwing rail services off track for the second consecutive day.
हमने पहले ट्रेन बुक की थी न्यू दिल्ली से लखनऊ के लिए जो 3:30 बजे थी और तेजस में हमने रिजर्वेशन कराया था और आज सुबह ही मैसेज आ रहा है कि वो ट्रेन कैंसिल हो गई है। मतलब एक दिन बिफोर, वन डे बिफोर आना चाहिए, बट सुबह आ रहा है। तो अब बताइए हम कैसे अपना रीशेड्यूल करें ना चीजों को। उसके बाद हमने एक और ट्रेन बुक की जल्दी में 11:30 बजे की, और वो भी अभी यहाँ आने के बाद पता चल रहा है 4 बजे है। तो बहुत ज्यादा अनकन्वीनियंट हो रहा है हम लोगों को।
With visibility levels reduced to a minimum, not only the railways but Delhi's flight traffic went out of gear too. As dense fog seeped the city, nearly 150 flights were delayed since midnight yesterday.
मैं इंदौर जा रहा हूँ।
इंदौर जा रहे हैं, आपकी फ्लाइट कितना डिलेड है?
1 घंटे का डिले है।
1 घंटे का डिले है। तो आपने अपडेट्स ट्रैक कर लिया, आपको पता चल गया था टाइम से कि डिले है फ्लाइट?
अभी जस्ट एयरपोर्ट पहुँचने के बाद मुझे पता चला है कि मेरा डिले है इतना।
And as Delhiites reel under the unprecedented cold wave, the capital's homeless struggle to stay warm.
इसको हम मुश्किल नहीं समझ सकते हैं क्योंकि ये हमारी किस्मत जो है ना, जो है ये हमारे लिए बहुत अच्छा है।
एमसीडी का झाड़ू लगा। क्या करूँ, अब सामना करना पड़ता है, चाहे बारिश हो चाहे आंधी हो तूफान हो, थोड़ी देर इंतजार करता, रुकता है, कर लेते। करना तो पड़ेगा ही, नहीं करेंगे तो ऊपर से दबाव आती है। घर जाके सुबह आने का मौका नहीं मिलता, इसीलिए जिस दिन जल्दी हो चले जाता, नहीं तो यहाँ सो जाता, सुबह उठ के अपना काम कर लेता।
This blinding fog is actually smog or toxic air. Calm winds and a falling mercury have led to a sudden deterioration of the capital's air quality. Delhi's AQI is currently in the severe category and the cancer-causing PM 2.5 pollutant is nearly 100 times the safe limit set by the World Health Organization. For Delhiites, once again, it's time to mask up. In New Delhi with camera person Sushil Rathi and Pavan Kumar, Vedant for NDTV.
The Bombay High Court has ordered the release of former ICICI Bank chief Chanda Kochhar and her husband Deepak Kochhar, calling their arrests illegal. The High Court said that just because an accused does not confess, it cannot be said that they are not cooperating with the investigation, which is what the CBI had claimed. They had challenged their arrest by the CBI in December in a case linked to alleged irregularities in a 3,000 crore rupee loan provided to the Videocon group. That was when Chanda Kochhar was heading the private sector bank. Venugopal Dhoot, the chairman of the Videocon group, has also been arrested by the CBI in the same case. Well, my colleague Arvind Gunasekar now joining us for more on that important story. Arvind, the High Court really pulling up the CBI there in some very strong remarks.
Yeah, Nidhi, in a big setback for the Central Bureau of Investigation and also a huge embarrassment for the central agency. Today, the Bombay High Court has held that the arrest of Chanda Kochhar, the former chief of ICICI Bank, along with her husband Deepak Kochhar, who have been arrested by the Central Bureau of Investigation, their arrest per se, the Bombay High Court has held that that's not in accordance with law, and that's why the Bombay High Court has also said that merely because someone is not confessing the crime, you can't say that the central agency cannot say that they are not cooperating with the investigation. So this particular statement or the ruling of the Bombay High Court should be seen in context, wherein the Central Bureau of Investigation, they made this as a sole ground for arresting both Chanda Kochhar and also Deepak Kochhar. In their arrest memo, the CBI had claimed that both Chanda Kochhar and Deepak Kochhar, both of them were not cooperating with the investigation, and that's why the agency chose to arrest them. And that's why the Bombay High Court has held that merely because someone is not confessing the crime, you can't say that they are not cooperating with the investigation. Keeping that aside, the Bombay High Court has also held that this particular arrest by the Central Bureau of Investigation is mechanical, is casual, and also without application of mind, because this particular affair was registered sometime 4 years back, and now all of a sudden Central Bureau of Investigation choosing to arrest both of them, and that's where the Bombay High Court has held that this particular arrest is also mechanical and also without application of mind. So taking all this ground taking all this reason as a ground, today the Bombay High Court has held that the arrest is not in accordance with law and has proceeded to grant them bail with a personal surety of 1 lakh.
All right, Arvind, thanks a lot for that update. Moving on to the stock markets now, that snapped a 3-day losing streak, gaining over 1% today. The Sensex went up by 846 points, ending at 60,747. The Nifty gained 241 points. All sectors ending in the green, with IT stocks gaining the most. US jobs services data calmed worries on significant Fed rate hikes, which is what calmed the markets. The rupee also strengthened 36 paise against the dollar. And one of the world's biggest banks, Goldman Sachs, is going to start cutting up to 3,200 jobs this week. The bank has said that it is going to be informing people about job cuts beginning the middle of the week, and layoffs are likely to affect most of their major divisions. The uncertain economic climate, the bank says, has pushed them to hunt for cost-saving options. In other big news, China has reopened its borders after 3 years of COVID. Now, there will be no quarantine of inbound travelers within China as well. These curbs are being lifted even though COVID cases are sharply increasing in the country.
Big crowds lining up for travel documents at one of Beijing's exit and entry management centers. After the country dropped COVID border controls that have prevented the country's 1.4 billion residents from traveling abroad for 3 years. Sunday's reopening is one of the last steps in China's dismantling of its zero-COVID regime. China began lifting COVID curbs last month after protests began against the zero-COVID policy that caused widespread frustration among its people. The opening of borders also coincides with China's festive season, the Lunar New Year, which will see a massive influx of visitors.
取证的日期是17号，到时候就可以取到我的护照了，然后我就开始有一个很好的一个计划。我可能会先去泰国去度个假。
However, after China's massive COVID surge in the past month, the fear of Chinese visitors carrying the virus has prompted various nations to impose curbs. India, the United States, South Korea, Japan and 8 European Union nations require Chinese visitors to produce negative COVID test results. Direct flights have not resumed between India and China yet, but these restrictions are in place for those coming via connecting flights. Some countries, such as South Korea, have imposed visa restrictions too. Beijing has slammed the move by nations to impose curbs as discriminatory. A Global Times report says that the number of inbound and outbound ticket orders in China rose 628% year-on-year on Sunday when the travel reopened. The orders hit the highest since March 2020. So the travel in China is clearly booming after a long break. But the fear is whether with the borders, the country's COVID surge will also be expected to travel to other countries. With Nayantara Singh, Priyanshi Sharma for NDTV.